able to talk to young persons within universities, they would be more enthusiastic about what they are studying. They'll be more passionate about it. So it's not about, oh, let me just study this and just graduate and then go and look for something else to do. People would then see that there's a lot of viability with it. So I am totally 100% in full support of your mission of wanting to take it to universities and take it to institutions so that people see that there's a practicality to it and that it's also viable. Because sometimes when people think about agriculture, they tend to think of it from a standpoint of cutlass and hoes. But the truth
Yeah.
is, life has gone past that point, right? Life has gone past that point. And so, in your case, for your export thing, you've gone beyond just Nigeria. It's now like to other parts of the world. So there's a market for it. There's a viability for it. It is um, a way towards economic empowerment. So I'm 100% for that which you have said you want to do with your own platform as well. So if there are ways we could definitely collaborate on that, I'm 100% on board for it. So
No
let's
problem.
just delve. Fantastic. So let's delve in today. Hello,
Sure.
guys. Welcome to yet another fantastic episode of the podcast. And today I have a phenomenal guest who is an expert within the export space. And so he would be sharing to us today on global trade essentials for agro exporters. So if you're a person that is looking towards exportation, Mr. Emmanuel Ojefo is here to share his knowledge and expertise to help you and guide you on that journey, not just on a local level, but also on a very global level. And so, before we begin this conversation today, I would like to just read his bio to you guys so that you sort of have like an understanding of who he is. And so, um, Mr. Emmanuel Ojefo is a dynamic agro commodity exporter, a mentor, a champion for value added export with over a decade in the Nigerian export industry. Wow, a decade experience. Wow, that's beautiful. He has empowered more than 1,000 aspiring exporters and has helped over 200 secure global trade deals. That's amazing. He grew up in Niger State and originally he's from Edo State. His entrepreneurial journey sparked and was ignited earlier in trading with his mother, and later on his passion was later balanced with his study at Nasarawa State Polytechnic. In 2018, Emmanuel launched the Cider Grow Global Limited after gaining hands-on industrial experience. And today, the company champions African agricultural products both sides of the Atlantic with an operation in Canada and in Nigeria, which this is really commendable. He is also the lead of the EX Africa, which is like a platform that is dedicated to nurturing the next generation of agro exporters, serving as the chairman of DIMA and Partners, fostering strategic partnership in the export sector. Beyond business, he's a preacher and an advocate for value added exports. Emmanuel inspires African entrepreneurs to refine their agricultural products for enhanced global competitiveness and sustainable wealth for the continent. So, guys, let's just with a clap innovation, let's welcome Mr. Emmanuel on today's episode. So, Mr. Emmanuel, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us today. So before I delve into this question, my very first question to you, can you share like a background story of how you ended up being into exports? Because I believe like your academic background is not in agriculture, but just give us a backstory of how you ended up into, becoming a global exporter. What was that journey like for you?
Okay. I think it's time to do my biography. Okay. So, first of all, I thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here. My journey for export started at a very early stage. No, I'm not trying to be cliche to kind of sound like maybe I started from bottom, now I'm here. No, it's just the reality of things. So I grew up with a mom who goes to the market. Anything she finds in the market, she'll buy it and will sell it. Right? She goes to the market and find tomatoes, who sell tomatoes. So I've been in the trading business since I was very, very little. Yes, I understood profits, and I have this feeling if I don't make profit, I still have it till now, right? So it's more like something that I go up with. So the business of trading has been on since I can't even remember, right? Since I started talking or kind of like addressing people. So from there, we move on to, I started my first business, maybe not registered with CAC, but it was more of a business with employee when I was very, very young. I started selling tippers of sand to people that are building houses. I bought shovel, give it to boys. They are my boys. Why I'm the CEO, to call it. So from there, I moved to businesses of trading. Phone that has to do with trading has been something. So sorry. Hello.
I'm with you. I'm here. I'm with you.
All right. So something that has to do with trading has been something that I've been doing. Sorry, I have to put my other phone on do not disturb because I'm getting calls coming in. Okay. So it's something that I have been doing for quite a very long time. Then I moved to Lagos. Now, my story is more like the story of my elder brother that you know. He came to Lagos to travel out, and he was stuck in Lagos, and he started doing export. Came to Lagos to travel to Spain, and I was stuck in Lagos, and I started doing export. So hopefully my other younger brother might come to and be stuck. So I believe it's a generational thing. So we get stuck in a place, and the business, the purpose of why we or the business that got in our hands, we comment once we're stuck. So I was
Mm.
stuck, and we started like that. So before then, I do the trading of cashew, sesame, ginger, and the rest of them, right? So when I came to Lagos, I kind of joined my elder brother because he had a company already, and we were working. Literally, we were working for free, right? Because to me, I was just trying to understand how the business worked. Now, I won't say that I decided that I want to go into export. No, right? I came to Lagos as a confused guy, right? Who is just looking for what to do, right? I'm not just looking, I've not really given my life to Christ that time. So I was just here and there. So I came to a point where I sat down, I was like, Lord, okay, help me now. Help me. So in the process of trying to talk to God, a pastor came into, I can remember very well, a pastor came into the office and he was about leaving and he looked at me and said, come, how are you? I said, fine. He said, what do you want God to do for you? I was like, And I told him, I said, I just need direction. He was like, you don't need money? I said, no, I just need God to give me direction. So how we came here, how I started the business is I can't really explain. Like I can't even explain how it started, but I just know that I found myself doing the business and boom, 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 boom. We just exporting, sending to Canada, sending to different countries. I can't really explain. You see, one thing about, sorry, I'm bringing a little faith into it. One thing about me is
It's
that,
totally fine. It's totally fine.
all right, so I believe so much that anything you can explain. Sometimes it's not, there's a point where you come to, you can't explain what happened there, right? There's definitely a point where you say, from this place, I don't think I know what happened. Something just happened. And so it's the same thing. So moving me it didn't start with it didn't start with agriculture. It started with building a website.
Yeah.
So YouTube, I was seeing someone building a website and I was like, I need to learn this thing. So I started learning online. I was at home for like 3 months. I was learning how to build a website. I don't know who to sell it to. I don't know who to show. I just found myself building. Now, the connection between the website and export is an arrangement from God because the first partner I had came from the website. Yes,
Mm.
first partner I had came from the website. So he was kind of scouting on how to set up an agro commodity export company, and he was looking for a befitting website. And I presented my website to my elder brother in the company, in their board meeting. and they said it's not good. They kind of like trash it. So my girlfriend, now my wife, works with us that time. So she kind of said, this thing is very, very good now. We showed it to like 7 to 8 people, and they were like, this is perfect. But I don't know, for one weird reason, my other brother said, the team said, and the person we just called and he looked at it and I was like, this is what I'm looking for. And boom, we moved from website to discussing business. We moved from business to discussing how to set up an export company. That was the game changer for me. That was the game changer for me. From there, it was just God, 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 and we are here. Though we have had losses, so we have had a
Oh, of
lot.
course. Of course.
Had a, so the first business, the first export we did was a complete flop, like a complete flop. The second was also a flop. So the third was also a flop. So you can imagine you start your first business or your first shipment was a complete flop, and instead of you to stop, you still went ahead to do another. It was also a flop. You are supposed to stop. Then we did another third. I'm talking millions going down. It was also a flop.
Mm.
Then we just be like, okay, I think there's something we are not doing well. There's
Yeah.
an aspect actually getting it right. So when I come to the point where I told myself that I think is off, I think I need to start off something different. And the Lord told me, I could remember very well, He said, the losses you have had is your gateway to start off something. That anybody that started a business or did a business for 2 years and failed, the person didn't fail. The person has more knowledge than someone that is starting, so he can sell that knowledge to that person,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So if you fail, yeah, you failed in terms of finance. There is something you got, and that thing you got is the knowledge. So from there, we started. We had a board meeting. I can't really explain, but the whole process as regards to going to the farm is not something to discuss about. Is very dirty, right? It's a very bad incident. Going to Kaduna, in kidnapping, running kidnappers, trying to buy products. You see, all of those things are very horrible. What's it called? Incidents and events that happened this period. But it was something that I started that I can't really explain. So if you ask me today, how did you start? I don't know. I don't know. I just find myself. I don't know. I didn't study it. I studied mass communication. I didn't study it, so I don't know. But here we are.
Wow. Wow, fantastic. As much as you like to say that you don't know, I would like to put it to you that it was like a divine orchestration. Like just like you said, when you met with that person and you just said all I needed was direction. You were not looking for money, I just needed direction. But all along, you mentioned a part where you had started dealing in terms of like building materials, and you decided to move to Lagos, not knowing what to expect, or you just wanted something different or something better. You knew that there was something better out there for you, but you didn't know what it is. But you just trusted the process. At some point, you learned web designing, which now was the first connecting link for you starting out. So I can say that for any young person listening to this right now, uh, like what's in your hand, where regardless of what it is that you are doing, it will still be useful to you wherever you are going to. So don't
Very
just
true.
despise it, right? And also, there will also, just like you said, there will also be times where some of the people that you look up to might not sort of recognize what it is that at that point, like, oh, it doesn't look like it, but you still have to have without your conviction, still move forward with it. And there's still a lot around perseverance, because losing the first 100, like millions, double digits or single digits of millions, and going again, that must have been hard.
Very hard.
That must have been hard for any person at all, and it was enough for you to sort of say, I don't think this is for me. But thankfully, you being a Christian, God just encouraged you to say, no, you have not lost. It is not so. In NLP, you are told that nothing means anything except the meaning that you give to it. And failure is not failure in its sense, it's just feedback. And for you, God was able to give you perspective to see that you have expertise, you have knowledge more than someone that is interested in coming in, because you have what they don't have, that level of knowledge. And I'm thankful that today you work around the sphere of just mentoring and coaching people. From like your bio we read, like you've worked with over like 1,000 aspiring people and you've helped 200 of them secure global trade deals, right? But imagine
Yeah.
that your first three losses, you just gave up. That
It's
numbers, you won't have it. You won't. So, for any person listening to us today, uh, delay is not denial. You didn't get it at your first round does not mean that you won't get it. There's a place for persistence. So thank you so much for sort of sharing and also talking about the God element about it. I'm not opposed to that. I myself am a Christian and I believe in God. So yeah, I'm not opposed to that. And I think that at every point in time in a person's life, just like you said, there'll definitely be that X factor, which is like the God factor. Like if not for God, I really can't account for what I have amassed or who I have become. There was just that hand of God on it, and it's totally fine. I think people should also acknowledge that as well. So, which is also good. So, tell me, what are like the biggest opportunities in the agro export today, and which product have you seen has like the highest demand in terms of the global market?
okay. In terms of global market, the product that has the highest demand, actually, there's maybe statistically they will say cocoa, cashew, but for me, I feel every product has demand. Every
Wow.
product has, yes, depending on who is buying from you, and
Mm,
depending on the quantity they are buying from you. Every product is on demand. But according to statistics, it's cocoa, cashew, sesame, hibiscus. Palm oil has demand. Coconut oil has demand. Cassava processed product has demand. Cassava flour, massive demand, right? So we can, if we decide to put them on a box to say, okay, this, and this is the highest. I, my personal opinion, I don't believe that there is one or two, three product that has demand. I believe every product has demand. So, but
mm,
according to Nigeria, we give it to cocoa, we give it to cashew, we give it to sesame seed and ginger and the rest of them. But for me, I believe every product has demand. Palm oil has great demand, right? Kuli
mm,
kuli oil, granule extract oil has massive demand, right? China, there is large market for it. So somebody can order for like 10, 15 containers. That's demand, right?
mm,
Ordering for back to back, like first month 10 container, second month 5 container, 10 container is demand. It depends on needs and the capacity they need. So it's not like we can't box it. Every product has demand. The major thing is just ensure that you are supplying the best quality of the product. That's the most essential part of it. But every product has demand. Somebody is doing cow horn and it's getting supply. It's exporting cow horn for containers. That's demand. So it just depends on if you want to put them in a box, we'll be like, okay, this one is giving us too much money. This one is giving. We have not tapped. There are so many products that, as a Nigerian, I believe that there are so many products that I myself have not tapped into yet, and there are so many
mm.
products that have not been tapped. The moment someone start the business or start exporting that product, the demand will come. So I can't tell you that there is this product that is on high demand. This one is not. No, all of them are on demand, depending on who is asking and depending on who is buying.
Wow. I never imagined that would have been the way to answer the question, but I like it. It's a very holistic answer so that in a way that our minds are also open to more opportunity. So we are not just stuck or fixated on what already is, but just seeing that there's a potential for other things to also be in demand. Wow, that's really beautiful. Wow. Really nice. I never would have imagined that. I was just expecting, a lot of
Cocoa,
all this like crop and things and but like you said, I think like there are also many untapped potentials in terms of the
and
produce to export that we are yet to like discover as well. So definitely, I 100% agree with that. So, from your own experience, what would you say like are some of the common trade barriers that agro exporters face, and how can they sort of overcome these challenges?
okay. one of the barriers, first of all, is basically about tariff, basically about government policies in the particular country. This is what is allowed. This is not what is allowed. Charges and all these are barriers that I don't think it affects export. I feel it if it's been done properly, there's no barriers in export, right? But first of all, before we talk about those barriers, I would like to say there are two kinds of export, and each of
Okay.
these kind of gives room for different kind of barriers. So you have the raw material exportation, right, which has to do with cashew, cocoa, and we have the value added export, which you
Okay.
package the product. And so the cocoa exporter or the cashew exporter, you don't need FDA mostly. You don't need food licenses, right? With packaged
Yeah.
food. So the barriers are different. So if I'm exporting cocoa, it's a one-way thing. I can provide the fumigation certificate, phytosanitary certificate, the origin certificate, and everything that has to do with the product. It's a one-way thing. It's a one-way thing. But when it comes to a packaged product, the barriers are different, right? So you have a license for that product. You need to have a certified body to certify that this product is suitable for consumption, because most packaged products are ETF, which is ready. So somebody just buy it, open, and start eating. So there is so much regulations, there's so much scrutinization that happens in the process. So the barriers that happens for raw material is just a straightforward thing. But for packaged products, value-added products, there are so many barriers. So in some cases, your product cannot even leave the port. You're going to provide some document to back it up. You're going to get a license from the country. So if your buyer is buying from you, the buyer must have license. Like, okay, let me give an example. When I was exporting dry split ginger, hibiscus flower, it was more like a straightforward export. But when I switched to value added, the first exportation we did was fufu powder, pando, palm oil, food spice, and all of it. My partner over there had no idea that he needs to have a Canadian food safe license to be able to bring that. That's the barrier. So the product was there for more than a month, and a product we are supposed to clear for about 2,000 Canadian dollars, we end up paying 19,000 Canadian dollars. Why? Because we didn't understand that this one has a particular restriction to it. So it's not business as usual, right? It's not. You have to have some papers, document, licenses. So from that, we started. We registered for FDA. They have to come to Nigeria to inspect my warehouse and everything. We got Canadian food license, where you have to list all the products you are bringing. If you bring any external product aside from the one you listed, you can't bring the product in, and all of those things. So the barriers are different, right? The barriers are different. But one thing again is, to understand barriers in export more, you must understand quality, right? There are some countries that they have a specific quality that is required in that country. If you are putting any chemical or any preservative, there are some countries that don't allow a particular chemical or whatever, but there are some countries that allow. So you must understand the quality that is needed in that country, the specification that is required in that country. Otherwise, it becomes a barrier. So let's not make it look so cumbersome and to call it like, what are the problems that might affect you as an exporter? That's what we call barriers. So if you talk about tariff, the charges, you are supposed to have an heads up of your tariff. See, the problem we have in Nigeria, exporters don't run investigation on countries they want to export to. Exporters don't read about the happenings in the country. Exporters don't subscribe to news outlets or email subscription to license of the country. Let's say NAFDAC in a particular country, they have their own news outlet. You don't subscribe to it to know what is really changing, right? The happenings around you, you'll be able to escape from everything that looks like barrier. So barriers, in a sense, is blockage that happen during the process of export. financial barriers, which you have to pay tariff, huge tariff. The reason why you are paying huge tariff is because you didn't understand the process before. If you understand the process, it's no longer a huge tariff. The reason why they are seizing your container or your goods is because you didn't understand the quality that is required, the specification, what you didn't understand it. So it becomes a barrier there. So barrier, that's just what I feel is barrier. So but we must first understand that there are two kinds of exports: the raw material exportation and the value added. And their barriers are different. The barriers are different.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think personally, I didn't know that they were categorized into two. I just felt like everything was the same. But from what you've also shared, I think it's then paramount that if a person is starting out, I think that they might, go for like the raw material. That might be easier because from your own analogy, then once you have a bit of knowledge about how to move around the value added exports, you can then do that as well. So from what you're also saying, the fact that you're an exporter, you also have to be given to knowledge and research. Like just like every other business, like you have to know your onion, you have to be given to knowledge and research. You have to be a person that is a continuous learner. Like you said, there's a need for like subscription to knowing what is happening in the other markets where you are playing in, not just in the climate where you are, domicile or resident, but you also want to understand the international trade and the expectations in terms of quality control, quality assurance of the product that you're sending to that country and what is
Yeah.
also acceptable by them. This is really, really good stuff. Really good stuff. I never would have thought that, okay, there's still a bit of continuous learning process with exportation. But thank you so much for sort of sharing that with us. So my next question to you is, um, how important are like international quality standards and like certifications uh, for exporters? How important is that?
Okay.
First of all, are they like international standard and certifications? Let's start out from there. Is there required to be certified by, is that
Okay. I think this brings me back to the two kinds of export again, right? Where certification is very important in a particular kind of export, right? Like I said, if you're doing raw material exportation, there is no certification you're doing, right? You
okay?
are distributing to a company that will do the final production. You are
Oh,
distributing to a company that has machineries to add value to the product and then distribute. When you're doing the raw material, doing the value added export, you are the one doing the production processing. Let me cite an
okay.
example. Palm oil. You don't send the nut fruit out. No. You are processing it to become palm oil. That
Yeah.
process, the country wants to know, how did you arrive at this? What
Mm,
procedures you follow? Is there a way we can checkmate these procedures to see if it's healthy enough for our
yeah.
country, our citizens to consume,
The
right?
sanitary condition. Yes, yes.
Yes, it has to be on check. So that
Mm,
is why the quality of product you send out is more important than the quantity of product you are sending. You see,
oh, wow.
export itself, the bedrock of export itself is quality. Is
Mm,
quality. That's the major essence why people will come to Nigeria to come and buy from us. It's quality. There is cocoa in Ivory Coast, but people want to buy from us. Why? Because our cocoa is quite different from the one in Ivory Coast. The texture of our cocoa is different, right? The same
mm,
way you have cashew is in Kogi, Auchi. There's cashew in Ogbomoso, but the people still want to buy. Some people will go to Ogbomoso to buy. I'm just giving you a local kind of a view of how people buy products, right? So
yeah.
quality very essential. Quality is very essential. I speak to my students, I tell them most times that it's quality above quantity. So it's better
Mm,
you have container of good quality product than filling up the whole container with substandard product. So
yes.
it's very important. Quality is very important. We don't really take it to heart here in Nigeria, but many times my product has been put in trash.
Ooh,
Direct, yes, because they don't understand this. You can't bypass it. You can do some of
mm,
those bypass in their papa in all those, but you can't bypass it there. Let me set an example. There was a friend of mine from Germany. He had a contract for timber. timber wood back then when timber and wood was accepted. He came to Nigeria, he bought the timber, loaded it, he flew to Germany, the container was coming. When the container arrived, the person that is buying it, the custom people came along with the person that wants to buy it. They came to clear the container. They saw just two termites. Just two
Woo.
termites. Just the man said they're not buying. And this Nigerian man used his hand to kill it and said, this is not just termites. And said, is there nothing else now? They said, we're not buying. He thought it was a joke until and they left him there. And the custom said, you have 14 days to evacuate this thing out. Dumowe started piling up. He didn't know what to do. He spent over 50 million, if not more than, loading that, more than 50 million. So what he did was to look for a way to ship it back to Nigeria because Nigeria can accept it. We don't care if there is termite. We will clean it. So quality is not something you joke with in export. So to every young person out there that wants to go into export, you have to focus on quality. It's better you send 5 kg, 20 kg, or 100 kg with the best quality than trying to do one full container with low quality. They will not accept it. They will never accept it. If they accept it, is by the mercy of God that it entered. And to sell it over there, they won't sell it because the competition is high. People are exporting from Ghana, from Ivory Coast. Another person is exporting from Peru. You are exporting from Nigeria. The 4 products will arrive. If your own is not good, they will not buy. So quality is important. Quality is essential in the business.
Wow, that's really good. Really, really good. Really good. Okay, fantastic. And so, how can agro exporters sort of conduct like a market research to identify like um, profitable products to export, and also it gets into access to like international buyers and like trade partners?
Okay, for that, there's something I want to say which I've not said before. Most of the interview I've been graced or by honored to kind of speak there. I hide it from people, right? I hide it from people because I feel I only kind of share it with my students, but I will say it here for those that understand it. We pick it. You see, uh, the way you get. I will start with the buyer aspect, then I will come to the sourcing aspect. Right? Let me
Okay.
start with the buyer. For the buyer, the way you get buyers for export depends on the kind of product you are selling. The way I get buyers for cashew is different from how you get buyers for foodstuff or packaged products,
Okay.
right? So I'm an advocate for value addition. So I'll be focusing more on the value added product. You see,
Okay.
you cite an example with Indomie Company. When you're doing
Okay.
foodstuff or packaging products, you have to understand the marketing strategy for Indomie in Nigeria. So I've done the study. Indomie, we go to warehouses close to the market. They will supply the product, right? They will wait for like 3 weeks. They will come back, collect the money that has been, like the amount that has been sold, replace with another one, come back again after 2 weeks. They don't drop 1,000 carton and collect money for 1,000 carton. It's not possible. So they will keep and tell the distributor, help us distribute it. We'll come back after 2, 3 weeks. We'll take the one you have sold, we'll replace it for you. That's a marketing structure. So if you are selling cashew, you'll be going to sites, be going to different platforms to get buyers because you are selling to a company that processes. If you are selling value added product, I have about 7 distributors around the world that distribute product. So I'm not looking for a buyer. I'm looking for a distributor.
Um,
So for anyone looking for a way
hmm.
beans, crayfish, or you have palm oil, you want to sell. First of all, you must understand who is your target market. Fufu powder is
Yeah.
not for Spanish.
Mm. Wow.
Pando is not for a Spanish man. It's for Africans.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the most populated area or the most populated country where Africans are America, these 4 countries, Nigerians are or Africans are domiciled in that country. So if you want to sell, these people you are selling to, they are looking for a distributor. They're not looking for a, a buyer. Now, how
Yeah.
do you get a distributor, or how do you discuss with this distributor? Everybody has a price. Hello, I
Yes.
want you to help me distribute this product. This is how we do formula. This product is supposed to be sold for $5, but I'm going to sell it to you for $3. Be like, well, yes, I'll sell it for you for $3. All you need to do is to be distributing and making your money. I don't care how much you sell it again, but all I know is $3 is what you be giving. They are jobless as we speak. They have the techniques for
Mm.
sales. They know how to sell product, they know how to sell things. In fact, when they were in Nigeria, they understood sales. They can sell anything. They can even sell sand to a beach. There is no job.
Mm.
So they are looking for what they can do. So you bring a proposal to them. I want to give you this product. You'll be said, I need a distributor. So for value added products, you're not looking for a distributor that can take your product to the ends of the earth. I was speaking to the
Wow.
person that a distributor of Pando, Ayola Pando, and one Pando company. I was discussing with her. She says she has been distributing their product, that she has been doing the distribution to the whole of America, the whole of Canada, the whole of UK. She's the distributor. And the owner of the company, they are just here. They just be producing,
Oof.
and she's distributing. So we don't
Mm.
product. It's different ball game entirely. It's a different thing. You look for distributors when you are exporting packaged product. Then you look for buyers when you are exporting raw material.
Oh,
Now, in terms
fantastic.
of sourcing of your product, which is the first one, yes, in terms of sourcing your product, which is the first one, you source your product based on the population of the people that need your product. So if you're egusi, you are exporting cassava processed product like fufu, gari, you're looking for Africans that will buy, right? You're looking for Africans. So you must target a country where there is so much, where there is population of Africans in that country, and once you target that, right, you look for a distributor. So the process is this: I want to export palm oil, or I want to export crayfish. What am I selling to? I'm selling to people in UK. Who will sell for me? I will look for a distributor in UK. That's the mathematics. So once you have the product, good quality, you know the country you want to sell to. Once you know the country you want to sell to, the next thing is look for who will distribute the product for you. Don't look for buyers, because buyers are going to buy small. Buyers are going to buy
Mm.
just little to sell or to eat. Distributor.
Strictly for sales.
One of
Yeah.
my distributor, I won't mention the country so that I won't. So one of my distributor in one particular country, if I send product to him and another order is coming again. So before you know it, if you have just one distributor, you in the first period of the whole process might be a bit tedious, because it takes time to kind of to 6 months after that, you'll be distributing containers upon containers upon containers, because now there is a market. Now there's a so know the people that want to buy your product. Have a distributor and export. Is to look for buyers, right? Look for buyers that can buy your product in a particular country and strike a deal with them and be able to export your product. Is that simple?
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you for breaking it down. That for raw material exports, you need buyers, but for value add, you need distributors. And from what you also sort of said, I really did not know that there's also like a sense of having to understand your markets in terms of like what would say in business and marketing, that also applies. Like, okay, know the demographics, know the region you're selling to, know how you're going to do it. Like, okay, for raw material, it's like B2C, but for the other one, it's like B2B, business to business. Wow. So there's wow, this is really This has been really insightful, really, really insightful. And thank you for also sharing a bit of your trade secrets with us, because you mentioned like you typically don't share it on open platforms. But thank you for being gracious enough
I
to,
just allow
you know,
people to just do what they want to do. I just
yeah,
allow them to do what they want to do.
thank you for sharing that with us. So my next question to you now is: so what are like key regulations that, okay, I think you've talked about this one, so I shouldn't, go back there. What are like the best strategies for building a reliable supply chain and in ensuring like, okay, the person's product is managed efficiently in terms of the logistics and also like international shipping? What are like the strategies of building an effective supply chain for that?
Okay. When it comes to supply, right, supply chain management. So the business starts from local supply, right, where you go to
Okay.
farm or you go to the bush. That's from there,
Mm.
right? So it's you can bypass. So the system is you, the exporter, a local supplier, and a farmer. That's the
Mm.
three system, right?
Mm.
There's a local supplier which you don't necessarily have to be in those bush or traveling to those villages. There's a supplier that can do it for you. Then the farmer. Now you can bypass the supplier and buy directly from a farmer. That's a supply
Mm.
chain management,
Oh, wow.
right? You have to decide
Mm-hmm.
which is more for you. But you can't pass
Mm.
the farmer. You can't bypass.
Mm-mm.
We can't. Generally, we can't do without the farmer. The farmer is more like the reason why we are doing the business, right? So the
Yeah.
farmer is there. You can either the supplier and source the product yourself, right? Now, the problem with sourcing product in Nigeria, that would speak for Nigeria. Maybe other countries have a more flexible way, but for Nigeria, it's a bit cumbersome because the road is not good. When you
Mm.
source for product, insecurity is there, right?
Mm.
Insecurity is there, bad road is there. So you can finish sourcing a good quality product and the product will not arrive warehouse in good shape because of
Mm.
bad road, vehicle gets stuck for 3, 4, 5 days, and God save you if it's not if it's a perishable product. If it's a perishable product, the product will just get spoiled there. So the supply management system in Nigeria, it needs a very, we need help. Let me use that word. We need help,
Mm.
and it needs a very strategic process. Get going to the farm, getting a farmer that has the best product, or getting from a supplier that will supply for you. And after that, you move the product down to Lagos, or maybe you want to ship from Port Harcourt, or you want to ship move the product to Lagos. Then from Lagos, you are looking at another way. You now become the supplier. Once the product gets to Lagos, is now the buyer. You are now a supplier. So the first period, you are a buyer. The second
Mm.
period, once it gets to your location, you are now the same procedures you follow to get the product, do proper logistic is now you are now going to be the one to do the process, getting a good agent to ensure that the date and everything is set properly. You ship your product over to him. He's do the paperwork. So your own custom here, we run their own process for custom. You pay the expected fee. When it gets to that country, the person that is buying it becomes a buyer and becomes a supplier at the end
Yeah.
of the day. Once the product gets to, he's now supplying to the market. He's now supplying to the market. So he's now a supplier. So you are first of all a buyer, and you end up becoming a supplier. Then the person that is buying from you in whichever country is a buyer. And when the product gets to his place, he's now a supplier.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
So it's more like the issues in Nigeria. So the person that will finally become a supplier in his own country, we have to sort out his own procedure. So the supply chain doesn't end. The only process is it ends in the stomach, who is consuming the product. But everybody is a
Mm.
supplier, starting from.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. So my very next question to you is, Um, can you sort of share like your own story as to how you have been able to successfully navigated this global trade thing, and what are the lessons you've learned along the way? So just because some people just hearing you now, you just think of it like it has always just been very rosy, just a
Okay.
very straight parallel
My
line.
story.
Yeah.
Okay, my story is like I've explained from the beginning, from start, is just the story of a man who God helped. But the journey for me so far has been uh, has been a bit tough, especially from the beginning. It's a bit tough. Now, what I will explain or what I will say to people that are starting up or that want to start is they need to understand that if you start successfully, you will fail also. If you
Mm,
start very smoothly,
mm,
if your first
mm,
shipment fantastic, be happy. Don't rejoice. Don't rejoice yet. Right? Don't rejoice yet. Your second shipment fantastic. Just enjoy the moment because there's going to be time where it will hit you. There was a point in my life where I had serious losses. I saw a bar drinking beer parlor. Those
yeah.
Nigeria. That was where I realized that Nigerian movies have influence. Nigerian
Oh,
movies have
wow.
influence. When somebody is heartbroken, he goes to a bar and
Well,
he
yeah.
start drinking up and get drunk and come back again and all of those things. So I saw a bar. I was about to just enter, just get wasted because of the level
Mm,
of frustration. I was like, what? So I started very rough. But one thing I will kind of explain is know your product. Know the product you want to do.
yeah.
Don't rush. If you have an order for product you have not done it before, leave it. Leave the product.
Mm,
In fact, give it to somebody else that
There's an expert in that area. Yeah.
don't look for a product that you are good at and stay in your own product, become an expert. If another contract comes that is not in your field, on your line of expertise, look for a company. You can get profit also from that, right? So I
Mm,
didn't understand that when I started. So I started anything that comes, I follow. Any contract that comes, I put my head, and I learned. My hand got burnt seriously, and I learned the hard
mm,
way, right? So for now, we are just keep two products, and then we stay in that product. If a contract comes from cashew, I call one of my elder brothers' staff and ask them, "Can you do this? Can you do this?" Yes, I will give them, and they will do it, and we kind of share profit. And but if you come to my own field of business, I will do it personally. So I believe that's one of the things that I learned in my line of business. The journey so far, I've learned not to do anything that comes. I've learned to stick to my own kind of business. Second thing I've learned again is you have to build your capital. So I
mm,
think yes, you have to build your capital from scratch. You must learn how to build capital, right? I learned it from beginning, and now banks come to me to give me loan. I don't need loan again for business, right? Unless if I need, I will contact them and they will give me. But when I started, there was no bank to give loan. So if you're starting as a young person, you want to start the business, whether you are old or young, you must understand that you must start with your own capital. You must be able to learn how to build capital. So you have 1 million. You must be able to learn how to build 1 million to 5 million. You must be able to start from 500 kg to 1 ton, from 1 ton to 10 tons, continuously like that. Then you can be doing full container with your money. It's possible. I've found a
mm,
woman that came from UK. She said she's back to Nigeria. She wants to start up her life from Nigeria. She has money. And I said, okay, this capital you have, she says she has 20,000 pounds. And what can she do? She started with just sharing container with somebody, right? From there, she's now doing her own product. She's even back to UK because the business is no longer small again. Now she has to go back to UK and be controlling the business from there. But she started very small. So she's among the 200 people that have given such opportunity. So she started very small, and today she's big. 20,000 pounds might look like big money, but I'm telling you, you can start with 1 million and send the kind of product you can send for 1 million. Continue to build it. Don't eat your profit all. invested into the business. Continue. So I
Wow, it's really good.
didn't really learn that when I started. Mine is just okay, we're having network issue. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You were still talking about building capital and
Okay.
managing funds.
Yes, you have to managing funds and building your capital is very, very important. Then the last thing, or maybe yeah, the last is get the right people around you. When I started, it was just myself and my wife and one staff, right? And we were moving containers, though we are failing actually, but the reason was not because of the number of staff we have. It was basically because we are short of knowledge. So
Yeah.
get the right people around you. We have the guy who understands logistics so much. That is his area of calling. That is his area of anointing, right?
Hmm.
He can tell you he knows the whole route in Nigeria. So if a truck is moving goods, tell the truck pass through this place, pass through this other place, and pass through this place. The truck will be like, the driver will be like, why? He will say, don't worry, that's the route you follow, and smoothly they will arrive. But back then, I was just moving with anywhere, any driver that carry my load, I would say just enter anywhere, and they'll be stuck for like days. But this is my logistic guy, a staff of mine, who tells the truck driver where to enter because he has been on the road, he knows everything, right? So you need to get people like that. When I started, it was ras matters. I was just doing everything that I need to do, everyhow, anyhow. But there, to get someone like that to kind of checkmate all the things. Then the last thing, sorry, the last one is you can't do everything yourself.
Yeah.
There are some aspects of export that is not your responsibility. That's yes,
Yes.
it's not your responsibility. Like a shipping agent's work, it's not your responsibility. There is
Yes.
room for division of labor. If you understand
Yeah.
division of labor from scratch, I think it will ease you from a lot of stress, save your money, and save you from a lot of what's it called, product rejection. So I understand the division of labor late. When I started, I wanted to be my own agent. I want to be the one to go to a papa, trying to look for custom. It was not my duty, it was not my job. But now I understand that somebody have to handle that aspect. So my story from that scratch was just that I was doing everything anyhow. But today we are able to set up structures. Everybody who knows this place, knows their position. So I can just stay at home for like a week. I'll be doing training. I'll be doing other things. I won't go to the warehouse. I won't. I don't want to know what's happening there. All I know is that the product is okay and they are shipping it and everything is going well, right? So you must build that kind of structure.
Wow.
I think let me stop there.
No, no, you can keep going. No,
Let me
I
stop
don't.
there.
I have.
No, there.
If there's more,
Okay,
you can keep
okay,
sharing. There's more, definitely.
okay. There is more, because this is more like another training program. So there is more. There is more.
Okay,
Uh,
fantastic.
there's more. Okay. So another thing again, I would say is do your sourcing yourself. Right. When I was
Mm,
starting, I was not doing sourcing mostly. I would just fly to Abuja. I would tell my suppliers after get this product. I have meet me in Abuja with the product. I will check it out and all. Then later I started going to the farm. I understood the difference. If you're starting, go to the farm, enter the village. It might look very, it might not look safe because of the insurgency issue we have in Nigeria. It might not look safe, but you must enter. Why? Because if you enter the farm, you get the product in a good price. You'll be able to
mm,
understand quality just by seeing, not by touching. You don't need to touch again. Once you enter
mm,
the farm, be able to understand quality just by seeing the product.
yeah.
So even if you end up being in Lagos, a picture of the product. Once you see it, that I don't like this product. You don't need to touch it. But before you can come to that level, you must be in the field. You must be in the field. Export is a practical business. My other brother will
Mm.
say is 80% practical, 20% English language. Right? It's practical business. You have to be in the field. You must be in the field, checking
Yeah.
everything. Sometimes we sleep on top of. You see the top of a truck. We sleep there because we are trying to protect the goods. I will sleep on top of the truck and the truck just the way you see the way they ship northerners from
Yeah.
the north to
So south
Lagos,
is
the
west.
ones that carry cow. Yes, there were days where I would be on top of the vehicle and be escorting my products to Lagos. There are days where there is no hotel, so we sleep in the market, right? So all of those things back then was from now. If you see, if you want to get send a product to me, I don't need to go to the farm. Once you send me a picture, I see the three varieties of product. I can tell you this is the one to go for. Why? Because I received
Mm.
practically, and I understood the. So my own journey didn't start like that. It was more like I was trying to do an arrogant CEO or a CEO with pride.
Mm.
But later on, I discovered that no, I have to be in the field. So for anyone starting, you must understand that it's a business that will be ready to source for product around. You must be ready to visit villages, understand culture. We ate food that ordinarily I won't, I can't eat this food. But because I'm in the field, like Apostle Paul will say, I became this and this. I became everything
Sing to all men, yes.
to everybody. So I had to all men. I have to be everything. So I can eat any food, and just because I'm there, and that aspect also, if you want to start, then maybe I will conclude it with saying that uh, know how to negotiate, right? Know
Mm.
you can get a buyer who is legit, who is a perfect buyer that will change your life. One buyer alone, one supplier or one distributor or one buyer can change the whole trajectory of your life. Just one. You don't need too much buyers. People want to get buyers
Mm.
in this. No, just one is okay. And when you get that one, you must learn how to negotiate, right? You must be able to see him as a family, see him as a friend. Once you send a message, see a friend sending you a message. So you must be able to discuss in a way that it will benefit him and also benefit you. So if you don't understand that, you'll be chatting with plenty clients and you're losing them. Another person will pick it up and the person will have the client and they'll be doing business. So you must learn how to kind of negotiate properly, come to good terms and conditions that will be favorable to you and also be favorable to the buyer. So yeah, I think that's all. That's all I can say for now.
Wow, that's been so much insight. Much
Yeah,
insight. So, guys, you've just heard him compress his over a decade experience in like five, six, important lessons. And I like how you sort of highlighted it and just saying like, oh, at some point you have to protect your goods by staying on the truck. Like, why would I go to the
you
farm?
have to.
Why would I have to be with them that way? But now you typically don't do that. But there's also like a stage for progression with this trade. There's a stage for progression. There's a stage where you have to put in the work, like be hands on, and just deal with the locals in the bush, in the farm, and all that. But thank you so much for sort of sharing. And before we touched on this point, there was something you had mentioned that I would also sort of want you to maybe give us more insight into. Is also the subject of like funds and finance, right? And so you have talked about having to like raise capital and manage capital. So my next question to you is, are there like opportunities where people that are interested in agro exports can sort of access funding or grants or trade credit? Are they is that opportunity available aside just having your own funds? Are there opportunity available?
In terms of financing, first of all,
Yeah.
no disrespect to commercial banks, but commercial banks are not helping matters, right?
Mm,
Thank God for Nexim, right? Nexim Bank
yeah.
is really doing well. Nexim is helping. One thing
Okay.
about finance, you need to understand how export financing works. No,
Okay.
they are facilitators. They are not loaners. Any institution that wants to finance your export, they are facilitator of the business. They are not loaners. So they are not going to be
Oh,
giving you cash or transferring the money to your account. Not possible. So you have a contract for maybe you must have a contract first before you can even talk about getting loan or getting money from financing for export, you must have a contract, a legit contract, which means you must understand the business, be able to communicate to get a contract, then get process to be able to get that contract done, right? So it starts from getting a contract. Now, who are you meeting? Who are you going to meet? Are you meeting the bank, or you are going to meet financial management companies? So, like I said, bank is going to charge you high percentage. In turn, it will affect your profit. It will be as if you are working, right? So about 2 weeks ago, I sat down with a particular bank. I won't mention the name of the bank. So we were having some meeting, and I told them I have a contract for 100 metric tons of cocoa, which is worth about billions, right? About 1 point something billion. And I said, okay, I need financing. I need a facilitator for this. And the bank told me clearly, the bank manager and the guy in charge of exports in the bank were communicating. He said that if I want to do it with the bank, they're going to charge me 36%. That was like
What?
36% of the profit, or 36% of the capital itself. Said, we don't know how much the profit is going to be. So I said, I don't understand. For how many months? They said for just 6 months. For 6 months, you're going to charge me 36%. The guy now said, I know, sir. It's going to be a bit, it's very hard. Okay, let's work with Nexim. So he told me the percentage next charge, which is about 12% mentioned. And I said, okay, I think I can work with Nexim. He said, but it's better you try and work with us. We have a good flexible. I said, you don't have a flexible payment system. You don't have a flexible system at all. I'm not saying give me the money. I say facilitate it. So it's best for you to understand that banks will not finance you without getting an interest that might affect your profit. But Nexim, by the help of God, Nexim help you with interest. But the thing is, they are not going to give you cash. So you want to buy cocoa, right? Who are you buying from? I'm buying from Mr. Suleiman. Get the account details, get an invoice, they'll be paying to them. But before they do that, there has to be something called an LC, a document for payment, which is more like an LC, a letter of credit. Now, the letter of credit must be an irrevocable or a confirmable letter, which means you have to first confirm the LC, that the LC is okay, is authentic, is an irrevocable, which means it can be revoked at any time, right? And be able to submit it to Nexim. Nexim is going to take over from there. This is more like a government institution. This is like a very reputable institution that we connect with the bank that supplies that LC, ensure that the LC is authentic, and create every system in a way to get their money back. Then once everything is said and done, you don't need to go to anywhere. They are going to want to finance the process. The money comes in, they take their percentage and give you your money. Right? So there is it. So that is the only opportunity that's available. Any other opportunity is available for export, and maybe some microfinance bank that will in a well negotiable percentage in terms of interest rate, in terms of the capital you are trying to get, right? Now, another thing we need to understand again in terms of LC, getting money, is you have a work. There's a work on your own part. Every contract that comes with an LC, there is a responsibility that comes with that LC. You must adhere to that responsibility. Responsibility, like there's a time frame the goods must be sent. So there's no room for mediocrity. There's no room for excuses. If the goods is supposed to leave Nigeria 3rd of March, you must ensure that it leaves Nigeria 3rd of March.
Wow.
The quality you send as sample, you must ensure that that's the quality you are sending to the client. That is your obligation. That's your responsibility. Otherwise, Nexim will hold you accountable. You pay that money if you're buying some standard products. And in some cases, Nexim will have to follow through the process to ensure that everything is done properly. Right? But the major person or the major individual that has responsibility is you. So it's not just getting finance. It's not just getting facilitation. It's you understanding what you want to send, because you can get the capital to start it, to do the business, and you end up supplying a substandard product, which in turn the client, the buyer of the product will not accept it. and there will
Mm.
definitely be refund.
Wow.
So understand how it works. You must understand are the bodies that are responsible to give finances. But for my own, I would say my own opinion is try and get your own capital and start from scratch. It's not going to be easy, but it's doable,
Yeah.
right? Try and get your own capital, start from scratch, especially if you're into foodstuff exportation or you're into value added products. Try and get your capital, start from scratch, and be building your capital. But if there is any need for large capacity, you need to approach Nexim. Maybe there's other
Mm.
financial institution that might give you, I don't know. But Nexim is the only one, the only platform that I feel can help you out in terms of such financial opportunities to be able to facilitate your exports. But from commercial banks, maybe there's a bank that can lower their interest rate. I don't know, but for now, the experience I've had, I don't think it's a good thing, especially for people that are starting. So it's at the
Mm.
expense of your profit.
Oh wow. Wow. Um this is just amazing. Just amazing. So my next question to you is, um, are they like, is there a way that technology has also helped in terms of um, the export business, export trade? Is there a way that technology has also helped? Are they like platforms that sort of makes this whole process as an exporter a bit easier, or everything still has to be done very manually process?
Okay, technology has done great in terms of it starts from farmers. The way we process palm oil today is in Indonesia and what's Malaysia, which is one of our
Sure, yeah.
biggest competitors. That's not the same. That's not the way they process their. So they are applying technology in their own production and the process. In Nigeria, we are still coming. We are still coming, right? So we need to apply technology. But in terms of sales, in terms of
Yeah.
marketing products, e-commerce platforms are not the best platforms to kind of sell your product. But at the end of the day, you must be the one to also do promotion because most e-commerce platform, what they do for you is help you to put your product out there or have a link or have a website, have a page where they can buy your products. So they are just providing that solution where you can, instead of building your website, you can just put your product. They don't go as far as promoting the product,
Yeah.
right? They don't go as far as promoting the product for you. So you want to do promotion using the link. So you must run advert, you must run other things to use that same link. So the person that is buying, we have to use that link to see your product, buy your product. So if you say there's a room for technology or the help technology has done, yeah, there are so many platforms that have been opened technologically to help exporters. But the burden or the work has to be on you, the owner of the goods. You must have to look for a way to move your goods or take your goods out there. So the technology is there, but you have work to do. So I wouldn't necessarily say that yes, due to technology, things are becoming easier. It has easier to connect, but you still have work to do, right? You have work to do in terms of your own quality of products, getting good machineries, which is also technology, the best machineries to fasten or hasten your production output and all of that. You need that kind of technology to be able to do that. And at the same time, in terms of selling and marketing your product, you have work to do too. For me,
Mm.
I kind of like the organic than the online. I like the organic marketing more than the online marketing. So I like
Why why
to
why
there
why
to
why is
see
that
the
a
buyer.
preference for
I like. Uh, I'm not an Igbo man, but I think that's the typical Igbo man business.
model?
That's
Yeah.
the way Igbo.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
everything has. So if you understand the organic system of getting buyers and trying to meet up with buyers and all of those things, the online will not be a problem because through the organic quality of products, through all marketing, right? You are going to
Yeah.
be supplying large quantity. Indomie does adverts, no doubt, but most of their advert is to see how beautiful their product is. It's not to sell again because they
Mm.
already have fan base. So they are not doing advert to sell. They are doing advert for you to see it and say, this thing is very yummy. Let me buy. Let me buy. Let me test it. I have Indomie. Let me see if I can turn it to this one. So there are people that are already doing the distribution for them. So that's
Mm,
organic marketing. But technology is doing well. It's doing well. At least two technology, I'm able to get some people sending message to buy products from us and want us to do some delivery to them. So it's also helping. But I'm an organic businessman, so I like it organically. Let's meet, let's talk, let's discuss, let's agree, let's sell.
mm,
Simple.
mm. Okay,
Yes.
fantastic. So from what you've said is like as much as technology is just like an enabler, it just helps enhance what it is that you already have in terms of your system and structure that you build organically. So technology helps to amplify it. So it will be good for any person starting out sort of have that sort of organic internal structure and then use technology to amplify. So that's
Amplify
like
it, yes.
the point I had gotten from that. Okay, thank you for sharing. So we're all soon going to be wrapping up. I think two more questions and we'll be done. So are there sort of like what would you say from your experience are like the biggest risk involved in exports, and how can this be mitigated? They cannot totally be eradicated, but how can they be minimized? The biggest risk.
Okay. Risk in export. Okay. One of the biggest, there are many risks in export. Some of them are very tiny. You might not know
Okay.
until it becomes a wide a cancer that will just destroy everything, right? But
Mm,
one of the risks that is really synonymous, people that have been in the business, they will understand, is currency devaluation or
mm,
currency devaluation or currency valuation, right? So you can be exporting a product and your process of buying, you got the money for the product, you are selling at maybe $5, and you calculated $5 to be maybe 7,000 naira, and you know your profit is about 2,000 naira or 1,000 naira, and you start your production and everything, dollar will come down from 1,000
mm.
naira per dollar to maybe 800. In that space of 2 months or 1 month, you are trying to do. So there might be one inflow that will come, something will happen that will disturb. And this one you can't. There's nothing you can do. So I would say I will start with the one you cannot control. Then I will talk about the one you
Mm.
can control, the risk you can
Okay.
control, and the one you can't control. So the ones you can control, you cannot control, is the currency devaluation.
Yeah.
Yes, is the currency devaluation. That's one of the risks you cannot control. In fact, you don't have the power to control it. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
So you don't have power to control that risk, right? So it's something that you have to pray. So sometimes you'll be forced to start praying, have prayer points that dollar should fall, dollar should go up, dollar should go up. That will be your prayer point at night. So that once it goes up, to get your money back,
Back.
have come down.
Yes.
So you become Elijah. So pray and going to come. So for you not to be in that position, you just have to understand that it can happen and you just have to wait. So you might be waiting and dollar will still be falling or naira will still be going up, and you'll be the enemy of progress of the country, praying that the country currency should fall. For you not to be that, so you just understand that you can't control that aspect. You can't control. The other thing you cannot control is government policies, right? As an
Yeah.
exporter, you must understand that it's risky. If a new government comes, it might change the whole system of operation, and it might affect
Wow.
your export process. It might affect the shipping process. Maybe you're supposed to do one or two documents, and boom, the product will leave. This time around, the new government says you must go through this, enter this, do like this before you do this. The time frame you give to your client is already up
Mm.
because the new government came in, and you must do. So it's risky, right? And the same government's policies has to do with the country you are sending your product to, also the destination. Their policy might
Yeah.
just change, right? There was a time where we were shipping crayfish through air, through container. I just bought crayfish and loaded the warehouse with crayfish, cleaned them up, preparing to load, and the news came out that we can't ship crayfish again to the country.
Hmm.
that you either do it through air, but if you do it through container, it will not be allowed. I didn't know. I was busy doing it as business as usual, shipping my product, and the policy has changed. So these are policies that you cannot control. They will just come
Mm.
and you must look for a way. So what I did in that, I started shipping the product through air. And through air, package is about 5,500. So we are talking about
Mm.
something of about 2 tons or 3 tons of crayfish. So if you calculate the money for 3 tons, we are looking millions. So we started negotiating again with clients and look for a way. So it affected the market in Canada, affected the market in UK. That okay, the country cannot accept it through container. So people were unable to bring the product. Then the product was scarce. So we're able to now decide that if it's still there. Can we look for a way to increase the price so that we can match up with what we are selling? So government policy can change the whole system, and it's a risk that you cannot control. Not control it. Well, the one you can control is management. Management.
Mm.
How you manage your expenses, you can control it. But if you are doing production, you are processing your product, you're adding value. There are some risks that you can control. But if you don't understand how to control it, it becomes a very big problem. Like you are processing cassava to fufu, and the cassava got burnt because of the process, or maybe electricity, or something happened to your machine in the process of processing of the when you are trying to process your product, and the machine got bad in the process. You don't have any other machine. So what you can do
Not certain what's happening. I guess it's the network. So guys, just bear with us. Just bear with us, please. I'm thinking this is network. But so far, I hope that everyone, thank you for staying on. I hope that you've been getting. Hi, Mr. Emmanuel. Can you hear me? Wow. So, guys, I'm thinking we're having a bit of a network challenge, but just bear with us. I'm sure that Mr. Emmanuel would join us shortly. But so far, I hope that we've been able to, glean from his knowledge, from his expertise that he has been just been sharing with us on the call today. Uh, personally, just having to just engage and interact with him, I'm also just saying that as much as it's an export business, there's also the part, everything that's applicable to like a regular business is also applicable here. Having to understand, policies that governs or that regulates that particular business in question, the place for knowledge acquisition, and just being more grounded in that particular area of agriculture. It's just so much of a beautiful thing to just sort of learn. And I'm now seeing more why it is very vital. Hello, Mr. Emmanuel, are you back? Why it's very vital to um, leverage on coaching and mentorship for every single like facet of every business. So even though this is exports, you feel like okay, you will learn along the way. But one of the things that I've just gleaned in terms of gotten as knowledge from this conversation today is that it will be very necessary to leverage on getting mentorship. And I think that that's one of the ways we're going to wrap up this, Mr. Emmanuel. How can people that want to go into this business sort of connect with him and then get access to his training, his coaching, his teachings on how to do it much more seamlessly? Because I feel like if you get that knowledge in terms of via coaching or mentorship, there will be a lot of pitfalls that you can avoid. A lot of struggles that you can avoid. Just listening to his story, there were certain things that I said he struggled for when he started out a bit, simply because he didn't have the required knowledge and expertise to handle some of these business transactions at the very beginning. But he learned along the way. So I think that anyone that is looking towards global trade, in terms of exporting agricultural products, please do get mentorship, do get trainings, do get coaching, know the right um, licensing to get, or certifications to get, or qualification to get for your product. I think that that's very, very essential. Essential. I, for one, I didn't know that there was like raw products and value added product. I didn't know that there was that category as well. We learn every day. And even in terms of just knowing that there's also a place for quality over quantity as well. Having to have quality product much more. That's a very good thing to note. A very, very good thing to note. I'm just thinking that Mr. Emmanuel is having a bit of network challenges. Mr. Emmanuel, are you there with us? I'm not certain. So yeah, I think that this session today for me has been so much knowledge, so much insight, so much knowledge, so much insight. I like how it talked about the God factor. There are some things that, only God can sort of guide you into. Yeah, it has just been very insightful just hearing him share some of the things that he had talked about today. There's also the place for understanding your markets, so there are some products you want to look for a buyer, and there are some products you want to look for a distributor. So don't have it twisted, don't have it backwards. So product you are supposed to look for a distributor, don't go and look for a buyer, else you will struggle. I didn't even know that as well. So that like it's just been a beautiful experience so far.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Welcome back.
Thank you. I don't. Sorry, I'm kind of not used to this screen here. Though they do it in the church, but I really don't understand it much. And I went off.
Thank you for just still joining in back on. And I was just trying to sort of summarize what you had said a bit. And I said on
Can
this
you
call that yeah, I said on this call that I think that people should actually get mentorship and training with this. And I was saying that if there's like I would definitely that would be like my last question to you. How could people sort of access your mentorship, your coaching, your training? Because there's a quote that I like to say all the time: "If we must go further, we must stand on the shoulders of them that have gone ahead of us." And so to avoid some of the pitfalls, that you had gone through so that they don't go through that process again. That's one thing I believe that mentorship does for you. Sort of
Yeah.
bridge the gap for you in terms of how fast you can move with accomplishing your goal. right? What would have taken the person a lot of 5 years of struggle, but with good mentorship, you can do 3 years, 2.5 years, 2 years, as long as you are willing to put in the work. So towards the end of this call, I'm going to ask for that opportunity for anyone that want to like connect with your academy or connect with your coaching or mentorship. How can they do that? But you were still answering a question before our call went out.
Yes, I was answering the question on
The
the
risk.
risk, the risk
And you said there
involved.
were two types of risk: the one you can
The
control and the one you can't control.
one you can't control. So it's very good to understand that the one you cannot control, especially as humans, there are some things we cannot control. So it's applicable
True.
to export also, and to every business. There's some risk that is you don't have the capacity to control it. But the ones you can control need index knowledge. So I was talking about the
Mm.
machineries. If you are into production, right? So if you're
Yeah.
into production, you're adding value to product. It's going to be very hard, but you need to get double two machines. So if you have a machine for drying, get two, right?
Mm.
Have a machine for drying, get two. If you have a machine for maybe washing, get two, because they might just break down. One of the machine can just break down, and you'll be left with nothing, right? I'm talking
Mm.
from experience. I had just one dryer when I was doing dry ginger powder to export out. I had just one dryer, and the dryer broke down, and it's China made. As big as the dryer is, it's from China. So before I could get somebody from Lagos to come to the warehouse, and the ginger was already getting spoiled. So the only option for us was to take the ginger to an abandoned filling station and spray it there so that sun will beat it, so we can use from there to come back and start looking of a way to kind of meet up with the quality. But if I had two machines, maybe two small and a big one, that kind of
Yeah.
scenario, I would just switch to the smaller one or the other machine. So it's important for you to understand that it's risky to have just one machine if you are into production, right? It's very risky to have just one. If you are not into production, you are into raw materials, the risk in that aspect has to do with the aspect of buying quality products. So you can decide to
Mm.
you must checkmate him properly. It's very risky. This is individual personal wickedness. It happens in export.
Mm.
You want to buy paddy rice some time ago, and the people said we have to buy from the farm from local people by themselves. We said no, we want to source for the product. In the process of sourcing, the people that I got, the rice, the paddy rice, the up will be the rice, the middle will be chaff, while the down
Mm.
will be either rice mixed with stone. So you must be able to, and we are looking at about 2,000 bags. So you have to be able to pour the whole 2,000 bag on the ground and be checking. The time is not there. The time is not there. So it's very risky in terms of buying product. You must have a system to checkmate every process. So whether you put those iron inside to draw it out, you might not be able to get the authentic quality of the product. So it's a very risky aspect that you finish buying, you get to your warehouse, or you finish buying, you load it in the container, and the client will show you something different. That this is what you sent. You said, no, it's not what I sent. This is what he said. This is what came. So it's very risky, right? So you must be able to be watchful and be able to see what is going on, and be able to kind of checkmate your product very, very well before you move. In the aspect of um, let's say the aspect of finance, getting your money back during export is another risky aspect. Buyers, there's also risk in terms of getting buyers. There are some buyers that present themselves as very, very legit, right? You'll be
Genuine.
communicating,
Yeah.
they will give you, they will give you their documents, their company address, and all of those things. You will be very happy that you've gotten a client, right? At the end of the day, you find out that you are selling the product to someone that doesn't exist. Or sometimes you are selling the product to, they might even give you 20% or 10% to show you that they are serious. But the remaining 80 to 90%, you can't get it,
Hmm.
right? So it's just a way. They won't give you LC. They will only give you like 10% or 20%, so that you'll be confident that these people are ready. But after that, that's all, right? There was a time, let me just share this because of time. Let me just try and share it because I like giving practical examples to
Please,
what I.
please, please go ahead, please. Thank
There
you.
was a time we had someone write us from Turkey. He said he needs cashew. So sesame seed. So we're discussing about the sesame, the quality and everything. Then I was with my brother. We're trying to get clients for him over that time. So the person that was chatting end up chatting him personally After we are communicating with the person, and the person also sent a message to him. I don't know the platform he got his number from, and he was also communicating with the person. So the communication was just going like that. So at the end of the
Wow.
day,
The two of you at the
yes,
same time.
yes, yes. So the arrangement was basically maybe they need in large quantity. So when I tried to comfort the guy, you are sending message to me and you're sending to so person. He said, how do is also with us, right? He said, okay, yes, we need large quantity, so we just want to get from you and also get from them. So I said, okay, what's the name? He told me his name because the communication started with my girlfriend then, now my wife. That was the communication. So I pretend as if I didn't know his name. I said, okay, your position. He started communicating. The name and the address and the position he gave to my brother is different from the name and the address he gave to us. So this is just God showing us mercy. If not, if it's not somebody that is close to us, we won't be able to understand. So the whole thing started like that. What's the position? He mentioned his position, the name of the website. I checked the website. So I had to make a call through to the customer service of that company. Though they didn't
Yeah.
pick initially, it took about 3 days, 4 days. I was still calling. Then one evening they called me and I said, okay, I'm trying to make an inquiry from this person. They say, yes, they have this kind of person. What was his position? They told me the position, and it correspond the same position. Though the one he told my brother is different. So that was the reason why the suspicious act came up. So we started like that, and I said, okay, do you people need this product? They said yes, but they don't buy elsewhere. They only buy from a particular company in in Africa that they don't buy from Nigeria. I've forgotten the name of the country they mentioned. That they don't buy from Nigeria, they buy from a particular country. I said, so you have a supplier? I said, yes, they have a supplier, they have signed contract, they have signed deal with. That's the person that's supplying them. So there's no way they'll be buying from another person.
Wow.
So that was how I came back. I said, okay, I called the man, I said, hi, I called your company, this is what they said. They said they don't buy. He said, oh, don't worry, that person doesn't understand what. The next morning I tried to send message, he was not replying again. So from there, the communication ended. So you must be very careful in terms of getting buyers. Most of them pose as a very genuine buyer. When the process, they are out to lynch you, they are out to collect your product without giving you money. And also in terms of distributors, be careful for who. Be careful to choose the kind of person you want to be your distributor that will be distributing your product. Some people are
Yeah.
hungry. Some people want to distribute, eat the product. So they will start with distribute small, learn it, try and sell. That small is for their stomach. We have seen things in the business. We have seen a lot. So sometimes you end up sending 500 kg, spending millions, and somebody will just sit there and be eating the product and be telling you a story. So that's why I said I like the organic business, which I have to go there sometimes, or I have to kind of connect you with somebody. If I know you, I know somebody that I know in that country to pay the transportation of that person to buy your place, to see you physically. In fact, everything has to be done physically. So it's not a business that if you want to strive in the business, you must understand so many things, many things. So many challenges will come that you cannot be able to you won't be able to take it. And you sometimes you will think it's family problem or spiritual problem or somebody is attacking you. No, sometimes nobody is attacking you. It's just your ignorance that is at work. So you just have to be
Yeah.
try your best not to be ignorant at all. Don't be ignorant. Make sure you understand
Mm.
every aspect. So I think those are the things that you can see, challenges that you can see. Bad road, in fact, bad road is another challenge. Your truck will move, get stuck. Sometimes we'll be up 2 o'clock in the night trying to confirm. Sometimes I have to drive from my warehouse in Mowe, drive from there to a particular state to go and see things myself if the driver is lying, right? Sometimes you will go there and you will discover that the truck itself is inside a ditch. So your product is there. The only option is to look for a way to transload, look for another truck, transload it. That's another cost. So there are so many
Yeah.
things see there. Time will not really permit me to start kind of thinking because most of the things I'm saying are things that I've kind of experienced. So I'm just kind of sharing it
Yeah.
out. So time will not really permit me to think of other things that might hinder your production or hinder your process for export. But I think this one is okay.
Wow. Yeah, what you've shared, they are like very. ethical things that people need to look out for. Because every business also has its own challenges, as much as it's profitable and all that, but every business also has its own challenges. And so it'll be good for people that are considering this uh, aspect of agriculture in terms of business to also know what comes with it as well. So how can you say agro exporters or can adopt sustainable and ethical practices that would help them remain competitive in the international market? Because like you said earlier on, there are so many
Quality,
people exporting from different parts of the world. So yeah.
quality, it's
Mm,
quality. Anything that will make you sustainable, stay long in the business is quality, nothing else.
mm,
The buyer or the customer doesn't is not buying you, is not buying your English, is buying quality. The reason why he has to leave
mm,
another country to come to your country is to get the best quality. So to remain in the business is to continue to supply quality product. That's the only thing that will make you remain in the business for long. So you must prioritize
mm.
quality if you want to stay long in the business. Yes, that's just the only thing. Is quality. Every other thing is
Wow.
just management structure. Just ensure that the final
Mm,
product comes out with quality. Yeah.
mm. So like even in this business, there's also that having the mindset that excellence is paramount in terms of how your
Excellence
value
is
added product
important.
paramount. It's just the hallmark of this business. It's what makes you stay relevant. Wow.
Is the most
So
important aspect. We have competitors out there. So I think,
mm,
sorry, let me add this. There was an article I saw, kind of a publication in Punch, where Her Excellency Miss Okujo Wella was saying that the reason why Nigerian products or made in Nigerian products are rejected outside the country is lack of packaging, lack of quality, lack of what's it called, proper management procedures. That's why our products are rejected. So when you hear
mm,
rejection of products, it simply basically have to do with
mm.
quality and
Wow.
stay long. Those are things that you can personally design by yourself. So your packaging also needs to be very, very solid. Yeah, very, very solid. But there are some obstacles that might destroy your packaging, especially if you're into value added product. Yeah. If you get a poor
Mm,
logistics system, it destroy your packaging.
mm,
Yes. No matter how small the product is, if the logistic system, the logistic company have poor management system or poor procedures
yeah,
for
handling the
kind of
products, yeah.
product, handling your product, it will destroy. The client will see the finished product, we see the finished packaging. I think you are the one. We think you are the one that kind of design it or do it like this. So a time came we wanted to send a sample product to Houston, 500
Mm-hmm.
kg. We did everything. The packaging was even myself, me, I was in love with that company, send the product to them, pay the required money and everything. The way they handled the product was a complete mess. The product got there in Houston
Mm,
and the client was screaming, was shouting, in fact, insulting. And I showed him the before we did the shipment, I showed him the picture, showed him the video that this is the product that's coming to you because there's a way I do my work. If I want to send a
yeah.
product, I take the client through the process, right? Through the process, so he will see what he's buying, how we process it, and everything. So I go through this process. So he saw the final product. That was the only thing that saved me from that particular sample distribution. That he saw the finished product, he saw the arrangement. So when the
Yeah.
product got there, because of the way they handled it, he realized that this issue came from the logistics. So you can do
Okay.
everything, ensure that you just get the best logistic company to handle it properly, so that the product will not arrive in very bad shape.
Okay. So this would like be like my final question to you. For anybody listening on this call today that they've heard you and they are now more inspired to look into agro exports and they want to begin their journey, right? What would you say in terms of like advisory to them that would help them position themselves for success as they begin to embark on this journey?
Okay, three things. Number one,
Okay.
start small.
Mm.
There's nothing wrong with starting small. Start small. Right. Number two, pick the right product. Pick the right product. Number three, understand sales. Understand
Mm.
sales, how to sell, right? Understand sales, understand marketing. Start very small. I know it's very good to start in large container, but you can start small, right? Number two, pick the right product. A product that you can control, a product that has low level of risk, right? Very low risk. Because there are some you can't start with perishable. I started with
Mm.
high level risk product. So I started with fresh ginger. There's no facility to preserve ginger. I was doing it the way I'm doing cashew. Go and buy it, put them in carton. It's never done anywhere. So all the losses I was having was ignorance. I was supposed to start very small, start with a product that I can control. So if I started with like dry ginger, I think by now maybe I'll be in Forbes because
Mm.
the contract I got then was about 5 container every month. So that was huge for a
Mm.
startup. That was
Yeah.
huge. So, but I didn't understand the structure that I need to put in place to be able to achieve that product. The product is perishable. So if you are starting, look for the product that is very low in terms of risk and start with that product. Understand the product, understand the preservative procedures, understand the procedures for packaging and everything to keep the product in good shape. Once you understand that, stay with that product and don't change. Take like 2, 3 years before you can decide to add another product to your list. So not that you want to start, you can start with 2 products, no problem. But starting with like 6 products and want to get all the knowledge is going to be very stressful. So start small, pick the right product, choose few products to start with. Then at the end of the day, understand how to sell your product, how to negotiate. Because if you are doing
Mm.
food stuff, you must negotiate with the distributor and say, how far, this is what I will give you, this is what you will take. You must understand those things. And I think with that, maybe with one, the last one I will just add is fear God.
And keep his commandments. That was like
Fear
Solomon's
God.
final admonition. Fear God and keep his
Add
commandments.
God to it.
Yeah.
There are times where we pray and pray and pray. There were times where my one of my partner was about to leave me because of one
Mm.
or two things. I I entered the house. Oh, at I opened up myself. I said, "La lie, it will not happen." I didn't know how I got here. God, you brought me. We can't just end like this. So I had to understand that there's a
Mm.
God factor. And when things go south, you know who to call. So I know my way of bringing things back to where it is, and that way I have a pattern. So people they have to fast. Me, I have a pattern. How I align myself with God. How things happen. You must know your power habits. As a businessman, you must
Mm.
know your power habits. Yes, some of us is praises. Once we start praising God, things happen. Some is prayer. Once we start praying, some. So you must know your power habit as a business person. So that's the last one that we have. I will add to it that know your power habit and stay with God is very, very important.
Mm.
It's very
Yeah.
important. Sometimes it will be like the whole world is against you, or maybe somebody is fighting you. It's very important. In, in terms of getting your staff to work with, it's God that will have to help you because some
Mm.
people, their hand is not good. They come into anything is
Mm.
spoiled. So you must be able to see. You just have to bring God. Anything we are doing, we first of all start. My staff are almost 18. Muslims are there,
Mm.
but all of us must pray. Everybody must pray in
Mm.
Jesus' name. We must answer it. But the ones that don't want to just keep quiet, but you must just stay in that line. Then you can do your prayer.
Yeah.
No, if you don't want to come with us, no problem. But as the thing is going, you also flow with us. You can say the Muslim
Mm.
person come and pray. The Muslim too will pray. We too will say everybody will say amen. So it's not like we are forcing anybody to join our to say Jesus, but you pray your own, we pray our own. So you must just bring God into the whole thing. You must bring God
Yeah.
into it. There's a template
Yeah.
for it. There's a template. God is inside.
Mm. Wow. I like how you sum it up that this is the whole, summation of this matter. Fear God and keep his commandment. Like add God to this matter because on your own,
Add
regardless of
God
all the
alone.
tactics, all the strategies, all your expertise and knowledge, there comes a time when those things might fail. But God is
Might
like
fail you.
factor that will not fail you. Mm.
Never, never. I've seen someone
Fantastic.
that exports everything. Everything is supposed to do. Everything was done perfectly. He's a friend of mine.
Mm.
Everything was done perfectly, but the product was rejected.
Wow. Oh
There's
my
no gimmicks
God.
to it. You can't remove God from it. You can't.
Mm.
You don't even know what will happen to your container on the sea. You must call God.
Mm.
So in
Ah,
every area, you must just call God. It's important. So it has every strategy. God is involved. God is involved.
wow.
Your faith continues to be strong. That's what we pray for every day.
Mm. Wow, that's really beautiful. So you've answered my final question, but this is like more for people on this call right now that want to sort of connect with you in terms of getting access to your expertise and wisdom and knowledge and guidance, so that they can also be part of the people that they are also getting global trade deals. The people that you've helped over the years, how can they connect with you? Do you have like an academy? Do you have like a coaching or mentorship thing that you do? Do you have like a platform so that anybody on this call or people that will also watch the replays later on can sort of connect with you so that they are able to bridge that gap for themselves so that they are not wandering through the wilderness for long. You can get proper guidance. So how can people connect with you for that?
Okay, we have an Instagram page, Farm Export,
Okay.
Farm Export Training. Uh, but to connect with me personally, I don't really do group training. I like to
Okay.
train individual, one on one. We take
That's
our
like a
time to sit
mentorship
down.
thing.
Yeah, a
Okay.
mentorship. So if you want to reach out to me on WhatsApp, my WhatsApp number is. Am I allowed to
Of
call out
course,
my
please
WhatsApp
feel
number?
free. Definitely. Of course.
Alright. So it's 0811 081 2038. So that's my WhatsApp number 0811 081 2038. So you reach out. What we do is we just guide you through the process practically. Right? There's some mentorship that involves practical, where you have to come to the warehouse and we
Mm-hmm.
kind of experiment the product, the process
Mm-hmm.
of doing the product, how to achieve it will be done practically. So that's part of the mentorship class. So we don't do beginners training, right?
Mm.
Yes, we don't do beginners training. It's just to pick you up from where you are and make sure that you become a professional. Then we have a CEO mentorship class where I personally have to. If you come into the training as an individual who no business at all, you just come in to start. I will ensure that you become a CEO overnight. Yes, it's not possible, but you
Mm.
become a CEO at the end of the program. You become a CEO. You need staff. Every structure will be set. Your company will be open. Everything will be done. You become an exporter. A contract deal will be given for a year, where you start exporting a
Mm.
particular product for a year. So you'll be doing your export back to back and supplying to a particular client back to back. So it's a CEO kind of training program where we turn you from being a normal person or a normal guy to a company owner and an exporter. So that particular
Wow.
training is also valuable. Yes. So those are the two
Fantastic.
training we are doing.
Fantastic. I like how you talk about it that it's very hands on, that regardless of where you are, if you're a person already within exporting and you're having issues, they can get mentorship from you. And also, if it's a person that has like the resources and the money and they want to set up something, you're able to help them set out that business structure, just guide them and also help them almost from start to finish, and then see to them and then help them sort of manage their process till they are able to stand on their own. To have that opportunity to do that. So please, for everyone that has heard about this opportunity, he has already called his number previously, and I'll also try to like drop his contact to his Instagram page as well on the description. So connect with him, connect with him, connect with him. So thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel, for
Thank you
today.
for having me.
It has been just an amazing delight just hearing from you, and you not
Mm.
just holding back at all from sharing. There were so many trade secrets that you give out for free today on this conversation. I am genuinely grateful. My community is also genuinely grateful for that. And thank you for the great work that you're doing. in terms of just helping people see that the export space in Nigeria, it's very lucrative, as well as it can also be a means for economic empowerment, particularly for young people. I like what you're doing with your organization that has to champion with seeing how youths can then see export as a viable means for economic empowerment for themselves. Please do not relent on that as well. Thank you so much for
You're welcome.
today.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me. I'm super honored to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic.